You ever get into something thinking it's just another gig? Just another check, another route, another set of tires rolling down some forgotten stretch of highway? That was me. Thought I'd seen it all. Long hauls through tornado alleys. Dead deer lodged in the grill. Late night stops where you keep one hand on your wheel and the other under your seat just in case. But nothing prepared me for the rules they gave me at Gate 7. I didn't know what I was hauling at first. Nobody tells you anything up front. All I got was a sealed manifest, a beat-up rig with no plates, and a location I'd never seen before on any map. Some middle-of-nowhere dirt trail in Nevada, carved into the earth like it had always been there, but no one ever talked about it. The truck had been waiting for me behind a diner off the I-15, just outside Moba. I was told to leave my phone in a metal lockbox. That was the first red flag, but I told myself to stop thinking and just take the money. Biggest payout I'd ever been offered for a single run. Enough to wipe out my debt, and then some. But it came with a thick packet of rules. And I mean thick. Pages and pages stapled together with red ink warnings across the top like someone had run out of ways to say don't screw this up. I'm not gonna list every rule here. Most of them wouldn't make sense without context. But I'll tell you the ones I remember most because they weren't just rules. They were threats written in soft language. Like rule number 4, do not look in your side mirrors after mile marker 88. That one got me. Not try not to, or avoid doing it, but a hard rule. If you looked, they said, you were to stop the truck, cover the mirrors with the black cloth provided in the glove box, and wait exactly 17 minutes before continuing. No less, no more. Another one, rule number 10. If you hear a tapping on the passenger side window between 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock a.m., do not respond. Do not turn your head. Increase your speed by exactly 7 miles per hour until the tapping stops. If it persists after 3 minutes, recite the phrase on page 13 of the manual. Page 13 had one line. I memorized it even though I didn't want to. I won't write it here. Not because I'm scared it'll do something, but because I've heard it enough times in my head, I don't need to see it again. You're probably wondering why I didn't just walk away from the job. I did think about it. I sat there with the packet in my lap, truck engine rumbling low, and thought about getting in my own rig and heading back to Bakersfield. But there's something about being told not to do something that makes you want to do it. And besides, the first drop was only 3 hours away. 3 hours into the desert, one stop, and then turn around. It didn't stay simple. I drove all night. The roads out there go dark in a way you can't explain to someone who's never been. There aren't streetlights or even moonlight half the time. You're just surrounded by silence and a darkness so thick it starts to feel like it's pressing against your windows. There's no one else out there either. No cars, no planes overhead. Nothing. About an hour in, I saw the first one. A figure standing by the side of the road. No movement, no light, just a shape. Looked like a man at first, but the proportions were wrong. Too tall. Arms a little too long. Just standing there, facing the road, but not stepping into it. I didn't stop. One of the rules said not to. They had a whole section titled Roadside Individuals. Each entry was different. If the figure waves at you, do not wave back. If the figure follows the truck at a walking pace, do not accelerate or decelerate. If the figure appears in the middle of the road, honk once, then proceed through it. I followed all of it. By mile marker 88, I was white-knuckled. That's when I remembered the mirror rule. I pulled my eyes from them like they were burning my skin. It felt unnatural not to look. When you drive, mirrors are second nature. You use them without thinking. But that stretch, that section of highway, I kept my eyes straight ahead. That's when I heard something in the trailer. Just one thud. Like something heavy had shifted. There shouldn't have been anything that could shift. The cargo was locked down, sealed by people in suits with no names. I'd seen them inspecting the rig before I left. One of them had a patch on his chest with numbers. No name, just a string of numbers. I tried not to think about it, but then came the second thud. Louder this time, more deliberate, like something was trying to let me know it was back there. There was no rule about that. I looked down at the packet. Nothing. No section about noises from inside the trailer. I thought about pulling over, but decided against it. I kept driving. Then came the third thud. This time it came with a scraping. Metal on metal. Long, slow, and deliberate. My chest felt tight. Not like fear, more like pressure building up from somewhere deep. I turned the radio on to drown it out, but all I got was static. Not normal static either. There was a pattern to it. Rhythmic. Almost like breathing. Somewhere past mile marker 103, my headlights flickered. They didn't go out. Just flickered once, like something passed in front of them too fast to see. Then the engine jerked. Just a hiccup, but the whole cab felt it. The rules didn't say anything about that either. The GPS I was given showed a blinking dot for the drop site. No roads, no landmarks, just a dot in the middle of a green square labeled Restricted Zone 6. I kept heading for it, but the closer I got, the more wrong everything felt. The air changed, thicker, like breathing through wet cloth. I kept checking my vents, thinking maybe something was leaking, but there was no smell. Just this dense, heavy feeling that settled into the truck and into my lungs. When I got to the site, it wasn't what I expected. Just a flat patch of dirt, no buildings, no lights. Just a man in a reflective vest standing alone in the dark. He didn't wave, didn't signal, just stood there until I stopped the truck. I didn't get out. Rule number 17, remain inside the vehicle at all times during transfer. Do not acknowledge personnel unless they initiate interaction. If a second individual appears, leave immediately. There was no second person, just him. He walked to the back of the trailer, scanned something with a handheld device, and stood still for maybe a minute. Then he turned around, walked back into the darkness, and vanished. Not walked away, vanished. No footsteps, no crunching gravel. 1 second he was there, the next he wasn't. I sat there for a long time after that, couldn't move, couldn't think. Then the thudding came back, louder now, inside the cab. Not in the trailer, inside with me. Something was behind my seat. I wasn't supposed to look back. One of the rules said if you feel a presence in the cab, but hear no breathing, do not look behind you. It is not supposed to be there. But I heard breathing. Deep, slow, heavy. It filled the space behind me like a furnace coming to life. I kept my eyes on the windshield. Focused on the horizon, on the dark line where Earth met nothing. I thought if I moved, even a little, whatever was back there would react. The breathing stopped. Then a hand pressed against the inside of the windshield. From the inside. 5 fingers, too long. Too many knuckles. Pressed flat against the glass like it was testing it. I didn't move. Eventually it slid away, not pulled back. Slid, like it didn't have bones. When I finally gathered enough courage to start the truck again, the engine purred like nothing had happened. The mirrors were still covered. The GPS dot had disappeared. On the way back, I followed every rule like my life depended on it. Because it did. At mile marker 132, the road disappeared. Not like it ended. It vanished beneath me. Asphalt to dirt to nothing. I kept going. Didn't brake. Didn't slow. Just kept rolling over terrain that shouldn't have supported a semi, but somehow did. The stars above me looked wrong. I know that sounds weird, but they did. They were too close. Too sharp. Like someone had punched holes in the sky and was holding a flashlight behind it. I saw things moving between them. large things. When I finally made it back to the diner, the truck stopped on its own. The lockbox with my phone was open. The phone was inside, screen cracked but still on. One missed call. No number, just the word return. The envelope with my payment was on the passenger seat. No note. No receipt. Just cash. Crisp, unmarked bills. And one more thing. A single sheet of paper that said, "You have completed run 1. Further instructions will follow." I never signed up for a second run. I tried to walk away, left Nevada, changed my number, took local jobs only. But I started seeing the figures on other roads, not just near Area 51. They'd stand on overpasses or appear in my rear view even in daylight. Sometimes I'd hear tapping on my window at exactly 2:17 a.m., no matter where I was parked. And the rules? They don't stop applying just because you stop driving. I still have the manual. Can't throw it out. Can't burn it. Believe me, I tried. Pages don't catch fire. Ink doesn't fade. About 3 months ago, I got another envelope. No return address. Just sitting on the front seat of my locked car. Inside was a smaller packet. Only 5 rules this time. Short, simple, all handwritten. One of them read, "You will be visited between 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock a.m. Do not greet them. Do not show fear. Do not speak unless they ask a question." I laughed when I read that. Thought it was a prank. Then, the night after, my dog started barking at the front door. Wouldn't stop. Just stared at it with her head tilted, whining. When I opened the door, no one was there, but the porch light flickered, and there were footprints. Bare, but not human. I don't drive anymore, but I still see them. Sometimes in the mirror when I brush my teeth. Sometimes in reflections that don't match my movements. Sometimes when I close my eyes and hear the static. You don't ever finish a run. You just delay the next one, and it's almost time for mine again. It started again with a letter. No postmark. Just sitting on my kitchen counter when I came home from the grocery store. I don't know how it got there. I keep the place locked, and I have cameras. Or I did. The footage from that day. Blank. 2 hours of nothing. Just a black screen. The envelope was smaller this time. Thinner paper. No return info. Inside was just one sentence, handwritten in block letters that didn't quite line up. Run 2 begins tomorrow. That was it. No rules. No instructions. Not even a time. I didn't sleep that night. I left every light in the house on. Sat in the living room with a baseball bat I hadn't used in years, like it would do anything. Every creak in the walls made me flinch. I kept the blinds shut, but couldn't stop myself from checking them every 15 minutes. I don't know what I was expecting to see. A truck parked in the driveway. A man in a reflective vest again. I didn't get either. What I got was worse. At exactly 3:01 a.m., the power went out. Total silence. No fridge hum. No digital clocks blinking. Just dark and quiet. Then came the tapping. Not on a window. On the ceiling. It was faint at first, like something dragging a single nail across the shingles. Then it grew louder. Heavier. Like whatever it was had weight. I didn't move. Didn't breathe. I just stared at the ceiling, heart pounding so loud it felt like it was echoing through the floorboards. The noise moved, from the ceiling to the walls, then down the hall. Then it stopped. Not gradually. Just gone, like someone had pressed pause on a movie. I sat there until dawn. When the sun finally came up and light leaped through the curtains, I found the second envelope. This time, it was duct taped to my steering wheel. No idea how they got into my truck. Inside was a key, not for any vehicle I owned. It was black, made of plastic or something close to it, with no branding. Just a number scratched into the surface. 7. The back of the envelope had coordinates. Somewhere out in Nye County. And below that, 3 words. Return to gate. I should have burned it. Tossed it in the trash. Pretended it was all in my head. But you don't understand. This thing, whatever it is, it doesn't let you go. You stop playing by the rules start playing by you. I felt it already. I'd see lights in the corners of my eyes at night. Street lights would flicker when I drove under them. My reflection would be delayed by half a second, like it was catching up. So I went. Took the old pickup, packed a bag, didn't tell anyone where I was headed. Just followed the GPS straight into the desert, past the last real road and onto cracked dirt. Miles of nothing. Just sun, dust, and silence. Until I saw it. The truck. Same rig as before. Same dent in the driver's side door. Same plateless body. It was parked next to a chain-link fence that went on for what looked like miles in both directions, topped with rusted barbed wire that curved inward like it was meant to keep something in, not out. The gate was open. A small red sign next to it said one thing, Gate 7. I got in the truck. The key fit perfectly. The engine started before I turned the ignition. The moment I sat down, the console lit up and the GPS blinked to life. This time, there was no route. Just a single word in the top corner of the screen. Follow. I didn't want to, but the door locked behind me. Literally. I heard the latch engage like something inside the door frame had moved. I pulled the handle. Nothing. So I drove. The terrain was rough at first. Boulders, ridges, small dry riverbeds. But the truck didn't care. The ride stayed smooth, like it was floating. The farther I drove, the more the landscape stopped making sense. Cacti growing upside down. Hills curving inwards. I passed a tree growing out of the side of a boulder, not through it, from it, like it was part of the rock itself. At one point, I passed a sign half buried in sand. It looked old, bent, but I could still read the lettering. You are still on Route 375. Do not exit. But there were no roads anymore. No turns to take. Just a never-ending path ahead that twisted and shimmered under a sky that was starting to turn the wrong shade of blue. And then I saw the other truck. It was parked sideways in the distance, half blocking the path. Looked just like mine, but darker. Older. Covered in dust. The cab door was open. There was a man inside, slumped over, wearing a reflective vest. He wasn't moving. As I got closer, the GPS let out a high-pitched beep, one I hadn't heard before. A new message appeared on the screen. Do not stop. I pressed the gas harder. As I passed the truck, I didn't look. I kept my eyes on the path. But I caught something in my peripheral vision. The man's head was bent back at an angle that didn't look possible. His mouth was open too wide, and something black was pouring out. Not blood. Thicker. Like oil mixed with hair. I didn't stop. Hours passed. Or maybe minutes. It's hard to tell time out there. The sky doesn't move. The sun stays in the same place. You start to lose your grip on it. Like your brain just gives up trying. Eventually, the truck started to slow on its own. I was back in another dirt clearing. Smaller this time. Just enough room to turn the truck around. There were no people. No reflective vest. No flatbed loaders. Just a box. About the size of a small coffin. Sitting in the dirt. It was already in the trailer. I know that doesn't make sense. I never got out. The doors were never opened. But the moment the truck stopped, the GPS let out another beep, and the word cargo secured appeared. The air turned cold. Like middle of winter cold. Frost began creeping across the inside of the windshield. I could see my breath in front of me. I didn't wait. I turned the truck around and started back the way I came. Only this time, the landscape wasn't the same. The hills were taller. Trees were burned down to their roots. I passed the same sign again. Route 375. Only this time, the lettering was flickering, like it was lit from the inside by failing light. The truck began to hum. Not the engine, the trailer. A low vibration, like something inside it was awake now. Moving. Aware. The GPS started cycling through static. Symbols I didn't recognize flickered across the screen. At one point, it displayed a countdown. 2309, then 2258, and on and on. I don't know what would have happened when it hit 0. Because around the 11-minute mark, I saw the figures again. Dozens of them. Just standing along the sides of the road. Lined up like fence posts. All perfectly still. Some of them had faces. Others didn't. Some were shaped like people. Others like mockeries of people. Too many joints, not enough bones. Then one of them stepped forward. It didn't approach the truck. It just held something up. A sign. I only saw it for a second, but I read it clear. You forgot Rule 32. That's when the tapping started. Not just on the passenger window this time. On the roof, on the hood, from underneath the floor. The truck's interior lights flickered. The rearview mirror shattered on its own. I didn't stop, didn't look, didn't breathe. I just kept driving. When the countdown hit 112, the GPS displayed a final message. Prepare for transfer. Do not exit the cab. Eyes forward, no matter what. And then it all went black. Like someone had turned the world off. No road, no sky, no truck, just nothing. I don't remember getting home. I don't remember exiting the vehicle. All I know is I woke up in my own bed with dirt under my fingernails and frost in my eyebrows. The manual was sitting on my kitchen table again. This time, a new page had been added. Just one sentence. We are inside now.